What up? What up? What up? What up?
Audacity right now.
Do what?
Should I be recording on Audacity right now?
Not yet. We'll do a countdown here in just a second, but I just want to make sure everybody can hear us and stuff.
Sounds good.
Looks like we got a decent number of folks in the chat. We got Emma's in there, Meg's in there, Timothy Dunlap's in there, Juliana, Matt A. Do we have a Matt? I didn't know we had a Matt A. Is that one of the new patrons today? Hello, Matt A.
Let me check Matt Anderson. He's our new guardian.
Oh yeah. Okay, I thought it was a Matt that I saw come through today.
Yep. That's Matt.
And then I can't pronounce this because I'm white as hell, but this is Mexican.
Oh, it's Rob. That's Rob Neese.
Oh, Rob.
Hey, Rob's Rob.
You can't pronounce Rob.
It's Rob.
Rob. Also got Casey Murphy. What's up? What's up?
And now it's gone back down to 0.74.
All right, Eric, we got to figure out the setting.
Yep.
Let's see here. You're on a Mac, right?
Yep.
New Mac.
Yep.
All right, let's start at the bottom. So go to your Mac settings first, then go to your audio settings, and we'll see if we can find it.
All right.
See if there's like a little switch, an auto switch. I don't have my Mac open.
So let me see here. If I were to do my Mac system preferences. But sorry, folks. We're live right now, right?
Yep,
they can see our pretty faces.
Cool.
I'm working on a new computer right now.
We have a new computer. We have a new person joining us.
All right. Input, internal microphone, blue snowball, USB.
There might be a little switch that says auto adjust. Is there?
There is not on the sound.
Okay.
Oh, but now the input volume just changed again.
Okay.
Stop trying to help me, Mac. I don't need your help. Yeah, it keeps moving it. So it's not there. Output is fine. Input. What if I do a control click on it? Will I do something? Nope. What do I do? Command click. Nope. Right click.
It might be Zoom. Let's try that.
Great. Let's do that. So if I go into Zoom,
go into your
Zoom preferences,
the audio settings.
Oh yeah, I haven't messed with it at all. Did it automatically adjust microphone volume? Get fucked. It's gone.
Did you uncheck it? Hell yeah.
It's gone.
All right, nice.
All right.
Cool. I'll go back to Audacity and see if it's still doing it.
Great. So I'm gonna go back to Audacity. Set it at 0.80. And what if I just talk like this? I go really loud, and then I go really soft, and I go really soft. And then I go really loud again, and I'm going to try to get a little really soft. Oh, it ain't moving. It ain't moving.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
I own this.
I'm a genius.
I'm a genius well.
Eric, you're also a genius. Yeah.
Let's do a podcast. That sounds great.
I don't want to do a podcast. Star Wars is canceled.
You always think you don't, and then we do, and you're like, that was so great.
It's fun.
That's what you sound like.
Andrew, you sound pretty good. Were you getting?
I hope so.
Did you get everything like you were supposed to in Audacity? Little bars.
I got bars.
Excellent.
And colors. And
did it sound good when you went back and listened to it?
Yeah, well, as good as my voice will ever sound. So
you get used to hearing your own voice. Everybody. When I tell people we're in a podcast, they're always like, "I hate hearing the sound of my voice." I'm like, I don't even hear that anymore. I just hear it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you gotta do like 50.
Yeah.
So
okay. So that sounds good, Andrew. We just got to make sure that you're on a PC, not a Mac, right?
I am on a PC.
Did you download Audacity like today or recently?
Whenever I did Legends Look Back,
okay.
So a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, you're good.
You probably I think the PC version of Audacity is superior in that it has that lame MP3 thing built into it, so you should just be able to export it. Mac does not.
Yeah. He's been on Legends Look Back, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's been through this already. Already knows it.
It sounds good.
Sweet.
All right. Well, live folks, we're gonna get this going. Corey, you want to start our Zoom record?
No, I'm not starting anything. You can't make me.
Oh my God! Can you also everyone open up your damn outlines?
I've got mine pulled open.
I always have mine pulled open.
God, you're already ahead of the game, man.
I'm so prepared.
All right, you guys ready to hit record in Audacity?
Yeah, man.
All right. Recording in 3, 2, 1, and go. Go.
All right, that
go.
Good. Oh man,
Matt.
Sweet.
Matt.
I see lines.
Matt.
I made my dog bark. She didn't like
that.
Yeah,
Oh man.
You're screaming like a ghoul. That might do it.
Dog's gonna run in thinking he's getting killed. I'm like, I'll save you.
She did run in. She came. You want to see the podcast? Come here. Ugh. Come here.
No, she has to go on YouTube like everyone else.
Come here.
We need the clicks.
Come here.
Come on.
All right, she's being lame. She doesn't want to get in my lap.
She's being lame because she doesn't want to go to her dad, who's been screaming like a golem.
Corey, we need to teach you about a little something called consent.
That's right.
Consent.
She doesn't want to. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to podcast?
Oh, look at you trying to make things happen now. Now you're ready. Now we can do it.
You need to give Eric a segue of some sort.
A segue?
I don't.
One of those little rolly cart thingies.
That too.
Hey, I don't find the segue. The segue finds me.
I like it.
You gotta listen. Maybe we'll never get the segue. Maybe this is it.
I am
Forever.
with the segue. The segue is with me.
It's an hour and a half of pre-show. That's to listen to. That's all that goes out in the feed.
Almost choked on my beer. Appreciate that.
No, yeah, Charles leaves, and we finally are unable to do a show at all.
That's right.
We're crippled with indecision.
He was the glue that held the band together.
He truly did. But you know what? We're going to try to soldier on in his absence on episode 47 of the Living Force podcast. Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday evening. I am one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and with me, as never before in this configuration, are a few different folks. First of all, we have Dr. Corey Helton. Hello.
What is happening?
And then the other most regular member of this show, we got our man in the chair all the way down from Texas. We got Wes. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And also from the South, for the first time on this show, you may know him from Legends Look Back, is Andrew. Andrew, what's up, dude?
Hi, guys.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. We knew we were going to have Charles this week, and we figured, you know what? We still want to have a full crew. So we are hanging out tonight, and we are going to be talking about all things Rebels later on in this show. But you know how we do. First of all, we like to have a little bit of intro because we like to hear ourselves talk just a little more than that. How are your weeks, guys? How's everyone doing? Just to check in.
Well, everybody's freaking out about coronavirus, so that's happening.
Yeah. So in case y'all didn't hear, I mean, you all know about coronavirus, but South by Southwest in Texas got canceled. The big film festival, first time in 35 years. There are worries about other giant events getting canceled. So,
such as
Don't say it. Don't say it. Next segment, we're going to talk about Terrarium.
All right,
Star
wash your
Wars
damn hands.
Celebration could be
No,
canceled. It could be canceled.
If Star Wars Celebration gets affected by this, we will be the first ones to tell you, don't you worry. But until then, wash your hands. I have been using the 20 seconds of the beginning of the Black Parade. If you sing until the beaten and the damned, that's 20 seconds from the beginning of the song. So I use that, or the chorus to Mr. Brightside is also applicable.
So,
Nice.
from a medical standpoint,
Yes, please.
there is a
We're all
risk.
gonna die.
There is a risk, right? So the news has made it sound much worse than it is. It is a pretty serious mortality rate. They have started training all of us on how to deal with it in hospitals and that sort of thing.
That's good.
You know, we probably need to be taking it a little more seriously than we are in the U.S. right now. Old people, or particularly if you have other comorbid conditions, are pretty high at risk. And it's going to cause mass panic. So let's hope that it doesn't get that bad. There are a couple cases on the East Coast now. But, you know, it is a lot like the flu. I think Fox News and CNN have made it sound worse than it is. It's a lot like the flu. It's just got a slightly higher mortality rate, and it's super contagious. So
Well, they got to get those clicks, you know.
that's right.
Absolutely. Just
That's right.
so, but be careful. If you are sick, stay home and catch up on your podcast. Catch up on your Star Wars books. All right.
Right.
Catch up on Rebels if you haven't watched it yet.
That's right. And I hope we all don't get quarantined, because you guys all get quarantined, but I'm going to have to go to work in that crap. So I don't want to have to deal with that.
That's true. That'll be rough. Well, until then, we'll keep living our normal lives. I want to catch you guys up. I was lucky enough to do some theater this weekend, which is my actual job that I try to do. Now and then I went to,
Eric.
I know, but I went back home to Michigan, did a show on Sunday. We had 3 days to put it up. We had never been in a rehearsal room before. We were in for 3 days for 8 hours, and then we did a show in front of 800 people on Sunday, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
That's
and
great.
then I drove back to Chicago this morning and then went to work, and now I'm here. and I love you all. And I'm gonna
Wrong
crash
there.
so hard. It's gonna be really bad.
Wes, what about you? What's new in your life? In the world of Texas.
In Texas, I put my bookshelves together yesterday.
Oh yeah, it
So
looks,
instead of,
it looks sick.
good.
Let me-
Instead of a bunch of crap on the floor
Pin
and
your
my
video.
computer on the carpet, I put some books up.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, I got a popcorn tin back there too. I was real excited about that.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So that's what I did yesterday, and then today I went to work like every other pawn in Houston.
Well, Corey, if that's what we did, you clearly did something with your terrariums, right? Juliana's never gonna forgive us if
Oh
we
my
don't talk
gosh.
about them.
Yep, you ready for the weekly terrarium update?
Please.
All right. First of all, here we go. Look, it's gone. So, the
Plot twist.
terrariums.
Wait, whoa! I legit was not expecting that.
Yes, update of the week. It smells like doo-doo. Yes, so the test of a healthy terrarium is when you open it, it should smell like the woods, like the outdoors, right? I mean, it literally smells like the woods when you open it up. This one smelled like rotten eggs, like nasty, rancid. It was really bad. I think it's got too much water in it. The water balance in the bottom of them is like super, super sensitive. There was too much water in it. So I've got it in the dining room. It's airing out. I think one of the smaller plants in it is probably dead because it needs super high humidity. So we'll see. That was that
Wait,
one.
so this terrarium smelled so bad, you said, you know what? I'll move it away from my desk to the room in which we eat. That'll be better.
It just shows how important Utini is.
That's right.
Because that's where he spends most of his time.
Right.
That's right.
so,
I don't want to smell it. I mean, come on.
It's sacred here.
That's right.
yeah.
Well, keep us posted, as I'm sure you will. Another thing that happened this weekend, we had International Women's Day went on, and a lot of people were celebrating in their own different ways. A lot of the Star Wars Twitter was ablaze with their favorite female characters and representations in Star Wars. It was so awesome to see from 4 dudes on a podcast. Happy International Women's Day to all you women out there. There are women in all of our lives that literally make it possible for us to exist. So massive love and thanks to them. Guys, I'm going to go around the horn here and spring something on you early in the show. Who is your favorite female character in all of Star Wars? We're talking every trilogy. We're talking animation. We're talking books. Who's the one when you think Star Wars is your favorite female character? Let's go. Andrew, you're the guest. So I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Well, I'll start off by saying that this is a hard question, but that's actually a good thing because there are a lot to choose from.
Absolutely.
If you'd asked this question in 1980, they'd been like, "Oh, Princess Leia."
It's Leia or Ula. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or Baru, But so I'll go Legends and canon. Legends, I'm going to go Jaina Solo.
Great call.
I know a lot of people were like really upset with what happened with another Solo in canon, Ben Solo. Not saying that she can take his place, but I will say if anybody just wants more Solo children in their lives, definitely jump over to Legends. Jaina has one of the best like fleshed out, progressing stories of any characters in the Legends. So for canon, I'm going to go with Iden Versio and Zay Versio.
Yeah.
I need more Versios. Like,
dude, true. Love them. Also, a quick shout out. If you liked Iden Versio in the Battlefront 2 game, the new movie, The Way Back, that came out this week with Ben Affleck.
yes.
The actress, Javina, plays his wife in that movie. So go support her. Give money to Star Wars actresses.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go Wes. Who you got?
I got a toss up right now. So
Okay.
I'm a real big fan of Rey. Rey's probably one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars.
Mhm.
But I got to give the nod to Ahsoka. Ahsoka's got to be the winner there.
Of course.
Amazing choices, especially in what's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Corey.
Big fan of Jyn Erso. Rogue One is my favorite film.
Yeah.
No big secret.
Mhm,
And I like Jyn a lot, particularly in Rebel Rising. She was really good in that.
God, a book that we don't talk about nearly enough. It just doesn't come up, but a seriously phenomenal book that, as a YA novel, kind of gets lost in the Claudia Gray cloud. But Beth Revis really kicks some ass on that one.
She really does.
I just
Okay.
read that one recently.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I would say that like between Rebel Rising, Catalyst, like those are probably two of the best like movie support books of any
Oh,
of
yeah.
the movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally are. Most Wanted up there too. Some of the young adult books, man, they really go with the movies really well.
Well, you guys took a lot of the ones I was thinking, so I'll go another toss-up. I've really had kind of a Padme renaissance lately.
Oh yeah, I almost said Padme.
Yeah, like the Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, the Clone Wars stuff she's been in. She's popping up in comics more. Like, I feel like the last couple of years, the whole fan community has really been getting behind Padme. So, huge shout out to her. And because you said Most Wanted, Kira. I freaking love Kira.
Kira's so great.
Second I saw her in Solo, I was obsessed. The book is great, and I think we can all conjointly agree. And also Leia.
Also Leia. Leia's like the all-time MVP though, right? So like, there's no reason to even. You don't even have to say it.
We had to have some fun.
She's like all-time starting quarterback.
Yes, exactly. we're going for the bench here. So yes, hope you all enjoyed that this weekend, and look forward to a lot more awesome female-driven Star Wars content this coming year. Couple podcast updates. We had a couple patrons join us since last week. Cheryl, who was already a patron of ours, jumped up to the Guardian of the Wills level, so you're getting those extra shows. Thank you. And Matt Anderson, who was watching the show tonight, we believe. What's up, dude? Also joined the Guardian of the Wills level, getting some of those extra shows. And guys, that means
drum roll.
We made the Lost Stars Roundtable.
Yes, we did. Holy smokes. It happened. Wow. I can't believe it happened so fast, but it happened.
Yeah, you put out the call last week. You're like, well, last time we did it, it went so fast. And our listeners were like, oh, fine, Corey. But for real, thank you. It still blows us away every time that happens. Every time we see people love this show so much that want to help support it in their own way. And now we get to reread Lost Stars and do a full 2-part roundtable on it.
Yeah, which is freaking nuts. I don't know how we're going to squeeze it in. I guess we'll have to do it like after the Rise of Skywalker novelization, right? Maybe before, actually, because I don't know. What did we say? Didn't we say we're going to do 2 weeks after the Rise of Skywalker novelization is released?
Yeah, we're going to get that a little less time. So for full transparency, how our scheduling is going to work here on out, because of this amazing event, starting on March 17th, the Rise of Skywalker novelization officially comes out. So on that day, we release a spoiler-free review on Utini, and then 10 days later, we have the full spoiler-filled review, and then after that, usually a month or 30 days, we have the roundtable. But we did discuss, because this is such a hot topic book, and because it's already based on a pre-existing property, we're going to do that roundtable a little earlier, because we don't necessarily have to give the full spoiler window. So that'll probably be 2 weeks after that. So purely based on our reading speeds and our show production, those Lost Stars Roundtable will likely come after the Rise of Skywalker Roundtable. But it is coming. It's a 500-something page book.
Yeah.
So if you want to start reading now or right after you finish the novelization, highly recommend it, because we are going to dive in. And
yes.
I'm so excited. Again, it's and I think all of our at least top 3s or 5s.
Yeah, totally. Join us. Yeah, so we've been talking a little bit in Discord about kind of doing like a book club type of thing, and this might be a good time to do it with. I think we're gonna break up the book into like several channels, essentially. Maybe the first quarter of the book will be a channel, the second quarter will be a channel. So basically, when you get to the point where you read, you can just jump in the channel and dive in. I've been kind of brainstorming a little bit about that the last couple of weeks. I haven't actually put it all together yet. We haven't formally talked about it yet, but I have some ideas. And man, Lost Stars might be a really good one to kick that off with. So let's plan to do that. I'm just gonna say it right now. Let's plan to do that. Jump on our Discord if you haven't already, and you can read Lost Stars with us as we get ready to go. And one more thing I want to say, Heather just brought up in the chat. She said, can't wait for the roundtable to listen to the audiobook for the first time to celebrate. That's a great idea, actually, if maybe this go around, Eric, it might be cool to try to hit it from a different way than you read it before. Have you listened to the audiobook?
I listened to the first part of the audiobook like back in 2016 or something before I read it. And then I went back and just read it in print. But the audiobook, we did that with Queen's Shadow, and that was a whole different experience. Yeah. And I mean, selfishly, it's also you can drive and listen to it. So
right.
It helps
I think I'm going to do the audiobook this go around, because I read it the first time, and audiobooks are always a totally different experience. So I can't wait.
Very, very excited for that. Speaking of our chat, I want to give a couple shout outs to some other awesome female characters that people were talking about. Meg, of course, is throwing up some Phasma love, as she always does. We got some shout outs from Rob for Asajj Ventress. We got Mara Jade from Casey going up in there. Rob also said he could have sworn I would have said Sabe, and I feel ashamed that I didn't. So yes, thank you for correcting me on that. And if you want to hear more about all this upcoming content and you're new to this show, please don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, because every week we are here talking about the Star Wars Expanded Universe. And y'all, if you are loving all this new content, please go ahead, leave us a review on iTunes, give us a 5-star, give us some written words, because it helps people find us so they can share in the joy that is the Living Force and Utini. All right, a little bit of book news. As we said, the Rise of Skywalker novelization comes out March 17th. Pre-orders are available now over at utini.com. Please make sure you got that pre-ordered. Also, tomorrow, as of recording this, funny enough, I didn't put this in the outline, the paperback of Queen's Shadow comes out with the exclusive cover from Star Wars Celebration. It's a really sweet cover, so if you haven't picked up that book yet and you want to go back and listen to our roundtable on it, that paperback is out tomorrow. Also, Queen's Peril, the sequel/prequel to Queen's Shadow, our first excerpt went up this week over on Hollywood Reporter. It's got Padme meeting Sabe for the first time. It's really good. That book is coming out on June 2nd. Again, pre-orders available up on Utini. And we're not even in Illuminous yet, guys. Like, there's so much coming out.
This is probably going to be, I think it's like pretty set in stone. This is probably going to be the best year of Star Wars publishing that we've ever had since the Disney purchase, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I've pre-ordered so many books off of Amazon. I don't know how many I've pre-ordered. So once that shit starts hitting my bill, like I'm gonna have $20 and $30 like every couple weeks come through. And then I have a Boba Fett Black Series helmet in there somewhere. It's just gonna pop up.
Oh, look at that! I'm suddenly poor. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Weird.
Just gonna have
Star Wars.
Just a Mandalorian helmet ominously showing up on your doorstep one morning.
It's like, I'm not that mad, but
like, there's
I
a
gotta
message
eat
to
ramen for a couple days.
Absolutely. Well, some people that have already been enjoying some of the publishing we had this year and last year are people that left us some book reviews over on utini.com. As a reminder, you can go look up your book over at Utini and scroll down to the bottom of the page, leave a star rating and a review, and we'll read some of them on this show. So first of all, we want to read our buddy Rob Neese's review of Galaxy's Edge Blackspire. He gave this book 4 stars and said this book will take you to the edge of the Resistance era and beyond. He starts out by saying, you know what? Instead of harumphing self-importantly about Disney's commodification of our collective childhood dreams, I'm going to review the actual Criffing book. Great idea, Rob. He said Delilah Dawson was handed the unenviable task of writing a novel that is 1 part spy thriller, 1 part galactic travel log to the planet Batuu, and more specifically, the hardscrabble settlement of Blackspire Outpost, or BSO. And you know what? She did a great job, particularly as she was able to parlay the assignment into an extension of the stories of the original characters from the Phasma novel. Resistance super spy Vi Marati, and ex-elite stormtrooper Cardinal, herein renamed Archex, which was the name he was given as he was growing up. The expectations the author's employers did show a touch throughout the middle chapters. Numerous locales and characters were introduced seemingly without purpose to acclimate the reader to the setting, but all that stage setting paid off in spades in the finale as the community is divided and faces up to the external threat faced by the legitimately terrifying sociopathic bully First Order Lieutenant Kath and his Duraplast armored cronies. Bottom line, swallow your pride, accept this as a theme park tie-in to the Star Wars galaxy you know, and maybe still love, and get on it. It's a great read.
Nice. Excellent
Review,
Rob. Nice review. Very good. That was awesome.
He only used the word spy slightly less than I kid. I love that book. But yeah.
It's so true. And I think you hit a lot of our things, Rob. When a lot of us first started reading Blackspire, as we said last year, we were a little apprehensive because it was a lot of like in this store and stuff, but she really does bring it all together at the end. And that is one of the great books from last year. So that I believe also got an international edition and a paperback released recently with a new cover.
Cool.
Yeah, like slightly new. Like the text is a different.
Oh no, I saw that.
Oh,
I saw
okay.
that. Yeah, I saw that on Reddit. I think this week.
But if we're nothing if not collectors of books, so come on, why not? Next, Chase left us a review of Darth Plagueis, which is in, I believe, at this point, an upcoming, but may be released by the time the audio comes out, episode of Legends Look Back. We played that last week, so make sure you listen to that. Gave it 4 stars and says Palpatine for Emperor 2020. Says an in-depth explanation of the events leading up to maybe the worst movie of the saga. Sorry. I totally enjoyed the extensive detail of Plagueis' political web and how he manipulated the Republic. Plagueis is brilliant and tinkers with various avenues in which the Sith will regain their glory. The story was fascinating, and I believe this book has to be canonized. The development of Palpatine is wonderful, and he is presented perfectly. Evil, cunning, and a career politician. There are bits of information I want to see explored, but probably unlikely. However, this book was great, but was long-winded at times, and name drops like a high school reunion. Overall, a solid book that I extremely enjoyed and would read again.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Those are fighting words, calling it possibly the worst movie of the saga, but I digress.
They are. But yeah, Plagueis, it is dense, but man, is it filled with so much great lore. And if especially you're liking some of the Darth Vader lore that Charles Soule was doing in the comic, and you want more of that dark Sith sorcery, I mean, you can't go wrong with Plagueis.
Yeah.
But as far as would reread again, that's amazing. Because that thing took me probably about 2 or 3 months to read the first time I read it.
Yeah, I would get updates from Chase at about 10 and 11 o'clock at night, like every 50 pages. He'd be like, can you believe that he did this? He killed his whole family. Oh my God.
That's what it's like. That's what it's like reading the Lucino
from
book. It's fantastic. Oh, man.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, yeah, the dark side is evil, y'all.
I know. Especially in the books. It's particularly evil in the books. I like it.
Yeah, oh my God. Between Bane and Plagueis, we get
oh my gosh. Okay, so no major spoilers, minor spoiler about the Bane books. If you haven't read them, close your ears for a second. Do you remember the scene? I think it's in the 3rd Bane book where he's like not in good shape. He's dying or something, and he has to like survive to make it like across a desert or some shit like that. And he stumbles on this whole family, like a dad and like 2 or 3 kids. And he just like brutally murders them so he can just like bathe in the evil dark side so he can survive.
Yeah.
I was just like,
yes, I do.
It was awful.
He like uses their life essence.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He just murders them, and it's like, and he's like, no, please, my sons. And then he kills the kid right in front of his dad. It's like, okay, this is PG-13 ish, right?
Yeah, Bane makes Voldemort look like a child.
He does. He does. It's
that he would murder.
It's books like that help you remember it. It's because it's like Disney market or Star Wars marketing is like, oh, Darth Vader, he makes great for like marketing materials, and then it's just like, that dude's kind of evil, and we got him he's on our t-shirts.
Lest we forget, happy ho 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 Christmas. This is Darth Vader. No. But if you want to review books like Bane, like Plagueis, like Black Spire again, find your book on Utini, leave a review, and maybe we'll read them on the show. We absolutely love getting them. Please keep them coming. A few updates from Utini itself. Tonight, after this very show, we will be recording in our Aftermath event our Bounty Hunt episode on the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 3. So if you have seen that and you're watching live, be sure to stick around so we don't spoil anything for you. We can't wait to do that, so look out for that release this week as well. Again, like we said, we have an upcoming episode of Legends Look Back that will be featuring all things Darth Plagueis with Trevor, our aficionado of Legends material, I think I can say pretty safely. And the Utini reading order we talked about last week is live on the site. Just search reading order in the search field, and you are going to find all those books listed, just as we said on last week's show. If you want access to all this content we're talking about, plus all our exclusive content, like the Bounty Hunt episodes, like Legends Look Back, like maybe some other upcoming Patreon shows, teaser, make sure to join us over on Patreon at utini.com/patreon.com/utini or utini.com/patreon.
Oh, links!
For just $5 a month, you'll become a guardian of the wills. You'll receive all those extra shows like Legends Look Back and Bounty Hunt, and the tiers go up from there. All right, my friends, before we get into our break for this episode, I want to talk a little bit about Star Wars Rebels, because guys, this show's freaking amazing. This past week, the hashtag Rebels Remembered was trending. You may have seen on Twitter. it was in honor of the 2nd year anniversary of the ending of the show. People were sharing their favorite moments from the show, their favorite characters, why it's made such an impact on their lives. And I'm going to go around the horn and talk about our Rebels experiences just a bit before our break here. So, Corey, I want to start with you. When did you first watch Rebels, and what did you think of it the very first time?
Yeah, so we've talked about this a good deal on the show in the past. I first watched Rebels, I think it was partially through the first season. Like, it was airing on TV. I knew it was airing, and I was like a little behind. I was like, "Crap! I got to get on board and watch Rebels because everybody's watching it." I was like pretty into Clone Wars by that time. I don't think I was like all in on Clone Wars quite yet. And I started watching Rebels, and I'll be honest, I was not the biggest fan of Rebels the first watch, particularly that first season. You know, I don't know what it is about Star Wars animation in the first seasons, but they're a little painful. I felt that way about Clone Wars, and I definitely felt that way about Rebels. I found Ezra to be an incredibly annoying character the first go around. We had to learn some moral lesson in every single episode, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like coming out of the later seasons of Clone Wars into the first season of Rebels is a huge jump because it's like
absolutely
it's really mature in those last seasons of Clone Wars. It's dark and gritty, and Rebels is like not that at all. I mean, he shoots a fruit and blocks he blocks a blaster
a Melu run. Thank you.
Yes, it's a watermelon. He blocks a blaster bolt with the watermelon. It's ridiculous. But I grew to like Rebels a great deal. I finished it. I felt, I'd probably give it a 5 or 6 out of 10 when I first finished it the first time. However, last year, I rewatched it with my wife, who really wanted to get into it after we went to Star Wars Celebration, and I take back every negative comment I've ever said about Rebels. Like, I was completely wrong. Like, she, slapped me and was like, what is wrong with you? How did you not like this show? Like, it was really funny because I had a completely different experience the second go-around, and I don't know, I saw it in new eyes, and I think a lot of that has come from Youtini and what it's done to my sort of the way I look at Star Wars now. I'm just happy to participate now, and man, I really liked Rebels the second time around. It's important. The characters are huge for the original trilogy, and I had a really great experience with it.
Nice. Andrew, what about you? What did Rebels do for you?
So when I first watched it, I was way late because I was waiting for Disney Plus because it reached that point where it was like I couldn't keep up with it live.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I'm way more into the books, I would say, than most of my family. But my brother is actually the one who watched a lot of the shows before me. So it was like I had it on good authority that they were good shows because I trust his judgment, but it was just like a waiting game. So when Disney Plus came out, I marathoned it before Rise of Skywalker came out. And, I'll agree with Corey. The first season's a little bit, it's a little bit, more kid friendly, I guess, not as quite as serious as like the latter seasons of the Clone Wars. But by the end of it, I was just, I even told my brother, I said, this is literally some of the best Star Wars lore, full stop. Movies, comics, games, doesn't matter. This is up there with the rest. But it's such a great show, such great characterization. I think in the first season, like one of my initial thoughts was like, all right, they're traveling around with a Mandalorian who loves graffiti. I really hope they touch on that at some point. And then, we do eventually get some of that backstory, but I had to be patient with like a lot of that stuff because it's like, I need to know more.
Yeah. Filoni definitely takes his time and then you're like, where is it? And then once you realize what your patience yielded, it's like, oh, you magnificent bastard.
Yep.
Wes, what about you, man?
I first got into Rebels during the live showing, so probably about the same time as you, Corey, maybe a little after. But that was the first time that I saw something live that I could look forward to every week. And I was like, oh, there's episodes every single week, and this is going on right now. And I thought the animation was great. I thought it was better than Clone Wars at first, and then I've since regressed. But like the Mandalore arcs, and then Obi-Wan, and bringing back Darth Maul and all that, I thought it was great. I loved it. Yeah.
So I think I'm probably a little more closer to your experience, Andrew. I watched it super late. This was like, I got into it in the break in the final season. You know how they did the first half, they take a break, and then they do the second half. So during that break, I watched the entirety of Rebels up until that point. I have never binged a show so fast in my entire life. I found out that my parents' DirecTV account at the time had the first 3 seasons on demand. So I logged into their thing, watched it on my phone at work, watched it on the train. Like every spare second I could get, I was marathoning Rebels. And like I was on a plane and I literally bought episodes off of iTunes to put on my iPad. So when I put it on airplane mode, I could keep watching it. Like I was
Nice.
I was just ravenous about it. And I realized it's because for me, it's literally Firefly in Star Wars. It's one ship.
Yeah.
It's kind of junky. It's a bunch of people that don't know each other, that make a family. It is all of the tropes that I absolutely love. And again, like you guys were saying, add on some of the best lore in the history of Star Wars on that. You know what I mean? But I will agree, though, with you, Corey. When I first started it, the animation style from Clone Wars was a bit stark, right? When Charlie and I started watching Rebels, we finished Clone Wars with her first watch, and that night she wanted to start Rebels immediately. So we literally finished the last episode of season 6 and with the Yoda arc, took a break, got a beer, came back, and started Rebels, and it was like, whoa, like it's stark.
It's shocking.
It is shocking. And it takes a second, but and I think that's why people are so hesitant is that I think it's easier if you've never watched Clone Wars, weirdly, which you should, because obviously the lore carries over. But if you don't have that expectation of that Clone Wars animation, I think it's probably a little easier to get into. But like we're all saying, once you give into it, you are rewarded endlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of animation, I think the key to convincing somebody to watch Rebels is just make sure they don't see a picture of Yoda in Rebels. That might be a slight turn off.
Man.
You're not wrong when you say that. Keying into our chat here for a little bit. Awesome conversations going on. Folks talking about Ezra's slingshot back and forth, talking about Kanan. Oh god, Kanan's arc. We're going to talk about a little bit after our break. Talking about Hera, all these different characters. I want to talk about all of them, give them a chance. But right before we get off here for a second, guys, I want to ask you, Rebels Remembered was literally trending. It got so big this week that it was trending. The official Star Wars Twitter account picked it up and retweeted it and got it going. What kind of legacy do you think Rebels has at this point, 2 years after? Because clearly it's continuing on. People are hankering for a sequel series that we may or may not be getting this year. What do you think the legacy of this show is, and how does it differ from something like Clone Wars?
I think Rebels weirdly sort of reunited the fandom at a very interesting time. Like it was right after Disney had purchased Star Wars, right? It was the first thing that Disney had produced. It was obviously going to be on Disney Channel, which had people kind of talking about it. Everybody was very nervous. There's a lot of anger regarding the quote unquote dumping of legends and creating canon and all that kind of stuff. And it started off not that strong, I don't think, but it got like an enormous cult following. Like, do you guys remember seeing that video where they brought people in and let them see, like, I guess was it the finale when it aired early? You know what I'm talking about? The big red carpet event thing? A whole bunch of podcasters got to go. Like the Sky Talkers ladies got to go over there for that. And it was like the behind the scenes footage of that event was like really emotional. People were crying, and Dave Filoni had a lot of really cool stuff to say. So I don't know. It weirdly reunited people, I think, and allowed people to experience an emotional take on Star Wars that I don't think people had experienced in a very long time.
And I think one of the cool things about that event too is that when you think about like some of the cosplayers and things that showed up, you've had entire families cosplaying things together and picking characters, because like you have Kanan and Hera, kind of like the mom and dad figures, and then Ezra Sabine is kind of like the kids they have to chase around, and Zeb like the family friend, uncle, or the older brother. Like it really created this whole family unit that kids could watch with their parents, and people could be like, hey, everyone had a character in Rebels they could really latch on to.
Yeah,
I think that was super smart for them to make that kind of family there. And I think you're right, the legacy of that show is family above all, and I think that's why those last episodes kind of hit so hard, because it is what a family does after tragedy, and how these big galactic events we love so much do impact people on such an intimate scale, from the family of the literal rebels to Lothal itself as a community. Ugh, I love this show, guys. All right, after our break, I'm going to grill you all on some of your favorite things in Rebels, and we're going to talk about the Rebels collection on Utini if you want some further reading. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you in just a bit.
Live.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Oh God! I wasn't ready.
He just does it. That
Oh
just
my
happens,
gosh.
man.
Hope we had nothing to talk about.
I don't know. I'm just drinking my
Doesn't
good old
matter now.
my pippers. What do you got? What do you got, Andrew?
I've got Yingling Golden Pilsner.
Yingling.
I never
Good
had
stuff.
the golden.
The Golden Pilsner is quite good.
I got really, really sick off of oysters one time. The same night that I had a whole bunch of Yingling, like 4 or 5 Yingling.
Oh,
Completely
Sounds like a
ruined the
great
taste for
combo.
me. I've never been able to drink it again. I can't even smell this stuff. It makes me sick.
That is me with Smirnoff Green Apple.
Ugh.
ooh, that's me with Bacardi Raz
Ugh.
rum.
I feel
man.
like everybody probably has their like sick drink. That one drink that they had so
Yep.
much it made them sick, and now they can't go back to it.
That's exactly it.
I am
Yeah,
drinking Hazy Little Thing by Sierra Nevada
Yeah.
brewery in
Nice.
Asheville. If you've never been to Sierra Nevada, the brewery is freaking incredible. Holy smokes. It's a huge place
So-
and doing all kinds of cool stuff.
My
Environment and stuff there.
my brother is he's texting me right now, bookshelf shaming me. He's like, haha, everybody else's bookshelf is bigger. Like that gumming, man.
Wait.
I think I
For-
fixed mine yesterday.
Yeah.
For what
So-
happens, everybody, for what it's worth, that whole bookshelf behind me, none of that are my Star Wars books. That's all
Oh, nice.
Charlie's books, some DVDs. My Star Wars bookshelf is over to my left. But the camera angle isn't as good and the room is not as easy. So
Does your
For
Star
what
Wars
it's worth.
bookshelf go to another school?
yes, exactly.
My only my top let's see here. Top 3 shelves. Well, there's only really 2 shelves. Those 2 shelves in the middle behind me, I guess, are Star Wars books. Everything else is
Yeah. You got like
Nice.
4 wide. That's your thing.
that's true. It's true.
So for the Secret Santa, I think it was Freddie, but for the Secret Santa, Freddie got me like these Star Wars wall stickers, and I finally actually got them put up.
Oh,
But-
sick.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was like, but frustrating. Yeah, it was so frustrating because like the perspective of the different ships, I had to like play around with them to actually make them look like correct.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Nicely done.
That's funny.
Not easy.
That's a sick looking Ray you have on your shelf too, man.
Yeah, it's like the Black Series statuette or something like that.
Yeah, that looks sick.
So cool. All right, gents, we ready to jump back in here, talk some Rebels?
Let's do it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt. Editor Matt. Matt Anderson, also cool. But hey, Editor Matt. Love you, man. We're going to go back live now. Here we go.
Wait.
Good. No, Matt, leave it in. Matt, leave it in. We're back now.
Oh man, I've always wanted to do that.
We are back. I don't know. I guess the cameo was going to be great, but then Corey startled me like a, I don't know, like a woodchuck. I feel like a
What
little.
year is it?
Are woodchucks easily startled?
I see. I maybe I don't even know anymore. I don't even know where I am anymore. I'm so startled by Corey. But more so than that, I'm gonna get over my startled fear. Talk about Star Wars Rebels, guys. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go around the horn, ask us some of our favorite Rebels moments because we want to remember Rebels in our own way, just like Twitter did, but in real life with real people because the internet is not always real. So, Andrew, starting with you, who is your favorite character in Rebels? Go.
Okay, I had to think a lot about this one, and I think I landed on Zeb.
Zeb.
Yes.
Zeb, you would be
Yeah.
a Zeb, Andrew.
So it was funny because, like I said, I was way behind. I was way behind, like when watching Rebels or whatever. He was the one character that like I never really saw people talk about. Like I heard all about Sabine and all about Hera and all about like all the characters, but Zeb, I was like, this, he's kind of out of left field a little bit. And also, it bothered me because I kept watching him and I was like, he looks so familiar to me, and I could not place it until somebody enlightened me, and they were like, oh yeah, that's because this entire show, spoiler for anybody who doesn't know this entire show is like heavily based off Ralph McQuarrie's art.
Mhm.
And Zeb was the original like concept art for Chewbacca, and I'd seen that picture all the time, but I hadn't like connected it before, and I was like, holy cow. And then that changed my entire perspective on how I felt about the artwork of the show. It gave me like a new appreciation for it because I love Ralph McQuarrie's artwork.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Lothal, the planet itself, it is McQuarrie painting after McQuarrie painting
Oh,
after
yeah.
McQuarrie painting. So the amount of Easter eggs they have for art fans in there is incredible. Wes, what about you?
Favorite character.
Favorite character.
All right, so my favorite character is probably Hondo in this.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Probably Hondo in this one, just because I loved him. This is the first time I saw him, so I saw Rebels first before I saw Clone Wars. So
Sure.
seeing like Captain Rex and everybody didn't really spark my interest like it did when I first saw Clone Wars. But anyways, so yeah, Hondo is great because Hondo is sarcastic and Hondo is all about himself and his crew, and then he likes money even more. So,
And his little buddy. What's the little guy's name?
Oh, the little Ugnaught.
oh yeah,
Can't remember.
he pretends to love and then
Yeah.
always almost dies every episode.
But then-
he died for real in that one episode. didn't
Melch. It's
he?
Melch.
Melch.
That's what it is.
Yes.
All right. Awesome, Hondo. Great choice. Corey, what about you? Who's getting your heart in the Rebels crew?
I'm a big fan of Satine. Sabine.
Sabine.
Shoot. I just
Yeah.
had a mini stroke there.
Whose idea was that? Oh, Dave Filoni.
I know,
That's
it's
right.
Classic freaking Star Wars, man. All their names are exactly the same. Sabine Wren, right?
Yeah.
Sabine Wren. Yes. Bad with names anyway. I love Sabine. She's got a great character arc. We had a lot of more cool stuff into the Mandalorians, particularly like Mandalorian culture during Empire era, which is going to be awesome to learn a little bit more about, both from Clone Wars
Yeah.
and The Mandalorian as it comes out in October. They announced that this week, I think, right?
Yep.
Mandalorian's coming out season 2 in October of this year. Yeah, I like Sabine a lot. I hope we get something expanding on her character and like what the hell she ended up doing with Ezra and Thrawn. Like her and Ahsoka go off and some kind of adventure at the end there. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, so a couple things here. Qualifiers. I was gonna say Sabine. Before that, I would have said Ahsoka and Rex, but to me, they're Clone Wars characters first and foremost. So I think that's cheating a bit. So outside of all that, I'm probably gonna say Hera. She's amazing. She's like the best pilot. She's an amazing leader. She's not afraid to wear her emotions on her sleeve if she needs to. I love some of the episodes where, like, I think it was Heather, I believe, that was saying it in the chat earlier, where her natural accent slips out. Because you can tell, like, she, first and foremost, she's a Twi'lek. And stuff with her family's history and heritage was incredible. All her stuff with Kanan is beautiful. And the fact that we get more of her in Alphabet Squadron is just so freaking cool. And made a book I love all the better. A couple of shout outs I want to give to our chat. Emma says AP5. Anyone?
Yes.
Love
Is that
him.
is that the really curmudgeon droid?
Yeah, like the Alan
Yes.
Rickman droid.
I couldn't remember what his name was, but I loved him. He was great.
Yep.
Hilarious.
And then a bunch of love for Chopper. We got Casey talking about Chopper, some other folks. Maybe this might be heretical. Maybe the best droid in Star Wars.
Nah, I
Chopper's
don't think so.
Chopper's up there, man.
He's up there, but
HK 47 for me, always.
all right,
Always
all
and
right,
forever.
All right, you dirty meatbag.
I really-
Yeah.
I really like the fact that you can almost understand what Chopper says. That's very unique and pretty cool for
Yeah.
a protocol droid.
When Charlie and I would watch Rebels, we would always do the thing where whenever Chopper spoke, one of us would immediately say
That's
what
true.
we assume it was. It was
Nice.
great. Loved it. All right, so those are our favorite characters. Let's go to villains. None of us said any villains. So there was a good amount of villains in Rebels. A lot of them had their good arcs. Some of them had longer arcs than others. Who are our favorite Rebels villains? Corey, let's reverse the order. You first.
Yeah, I'm always terrible at this. You know I can't do this.
I know, that's why I made you go first.
Let me think here. Villain. Tarkin is alarmingly scary in Rebels.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite kind of bad guy scenes, honestly, and probably all of animation period, is when those two guys who we had seen, they were kind of comedic relief, like kind of higher up officers, Imperials, and Tarkin comes in with the head Inquisitor or whatever, and they're like talking to him about how much they failed. And Tarkin gives the Inquisitor a look, and he comes up behind him and just lightsaber through the chest, just kills him right in front of the governor. And it was just like, okay, Tarkin is dark as hell. That was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And especially it ties in with your Rogue One love as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some good Tarkin-ness. Wes, how about you? Favorite villain for Rebels?
Favorite villain from Rebels will have to be Thrawn.
Good call.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm currently knocking out the first canon Thrawn, and I can see how a lot of his mannerisms in Rebels are playing into Zahn's writing. So I like that as the favorite villain.
Great one. Andrew?
Yeah, I figured Thrawn was going to be taken, so I went ahead and started thinking of others. This one's kind of like this one halfway counts, but I'm going to go Callus.
Ooh, yeah.
Because like as a villain, he was so. He kind of sucked as a villain. Like he was really bad at his job. but I liked his. We're talking about Rebels, so I guess there's no real spoiler warning. But I liked his kind of gradual turn, and I liked how his interactions with Zeb kind of led him to joining the Rebel Alliance. And no pun intended, but it didn't feel forced.
Yeah, totally.
In his wicked chops that he was wearing.
Oh yeah,
Dude.
Man. And his helmet that they've incorporated into Battlefront 2.
Yep, with the ISB agents.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I totally forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go a little off the beaten path here and talk about a villain that is only in a little bit of the show. It's Maul, man. No Darth needed.
I did not know what I thought. That was straight up Saw Gerrera. That was your Saw Gerrera voice here.
No, this is Saw Gerrera.
That sounded
Oh,
like
I thought Saw Gerrera too, and I was like, is he about to tell us Saul was a villain? That's a
Maul
bold take.
Maul is like Saw Gerrera, but like a little sexy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh.
But yeah, Maul's work in Rebels, specifically in the Twilight of the Apprentice stuff, and then the Twin Sons stuff. It's sparse, right? It's not like Clone Wars. Obviously, is his much bigger arc, but I really love his kind of final evolution in Rebels. So huge shout out to Maul. Honorable mentions, of course, to Governor Price has some great stuff in here. Really love her stuff. The Grand Inquisitor, as we said, all the Inquisitors, like the creation of the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome. So huge shout outs to them. All right, last question to go around the horn before we go into our Rebels collection to tell you guys what you can read if you love this show so much. Is your favorite moment or your favorite arc? So we got 4 really incredible seasons of this show. I think it had a really nice natural evolution. Right? Clone Wars kind of jumped around from arc to arc to arc. Rebels decided to go one storyline all the way through. If you guys had to pick one moment or one arc that you're like, that's Rebels to me, what is it? And Wes, we'll start with you this time.
Okay, I'm going to leave the obvious out there. I'll have somebody else say it.
Good man.
My second favorite moment was Twilight of the Apprentice when Ahsoka fights Vader.
Oh, that was my obvious. All right, continue.
And after she hits his helmet and he has his head down and he raises it up, she can see, she looks right into his eye. And they have that moment there.
Yeah.
For
Ahsoka.
just a brief second, and then she tails off and gets on the ship. But yeah, that's my favorite.
It's heavy.
It's
so
a
heavy.
chilling moment. And the fact that they brought Matt Lanter in and James Earl Jones to mix the audio to get Anakin Vader's voice.
Oh my god!
I didn't know that.
Good.
Yeah.
Jeez, it was so good.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Just that you can hear Anakin in there.
What's the line that she says? She says something like,
Says Anakin, I won't leave you.
Not.
And he says
Not
Anakin
again.
Skywalker is dead, and then she says, I will avenge his death.
"Oh my god!" I just got chills. Oh jeez, love it. So
Yeah,
rich.
all right. That's my number one. I'll think of another one. Andrew, how about you?
Yeah, so I'll also leave a couple of the less obvious ones. I'm gonna go twofer. I'm gonna go the first episode with the Purrgil.
Yeah.
That one just like I don't know. It was just so like I'm also don't crucify me. I'm also kind of a big Star Trek fan.
Sure, that's okay.
And-
That's fine. That's fine. He'll never be on the show again. No, that's great. That's fine.
Fine, I'll start a Star Trek podcast.
You
What about the
will
board,
try.
guys? So I'll go with the Purrgil. I don't know. That one just kind of like it like unlocked something with me, like just like my sense of like like amazement
Mm-hmm.
and just like a sense of wonder.
Yeah.
And then the other one completely slipped my mind, so I'm just gonna go with the Purrgil.
Purrgil's great. It'll
Yeah.
give an honorable mention to their return as well. Like the fact
Yes.
where Filoni's like, "Oh, you thought that was a throwaway episode?"
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Because you were like, what the hell are these flying whales? And what does it have to do with anything?
Yes.
And fun fact for those of you that may not have listened to our earlier shows back on the Rise of Skywalker, the Wayfinder, according to the Visual Dictionary, is the technology of the Wayfinders in Rise of Skywalker is based on the Purrgil and their ability to travel.
It's probably
through
like
hyperspace.
the Wayfinder. It looks like it's just like a fancy like Sith artifact. It's actually just like a triangle. It's a fish tank, and it's got like a pineal pineal
Like a
gland.
baby
A little
Inside.
tadpole Purrgil.
It's the pineal gland. It's on the inside of there. It's just floating in the.
It's a terrarium.
It's a terrarium.
All right, Corey, other than Purrgil and Twilight of the Apprentice, what do you love in Rebels?
Okay, so the question was favorite arc. Is that what you asked specifically?
Yeah, I said favorite arc or moment.
Okay, so my favorite moment, which is really where my head went with this. Well, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. My favorite arc, I think, is that single episode where Maul met up with Kenobi and
Twin Sons.
Yes, Twin
Yep.
Sons, and Kenobi defeated Maul. That was the episode I specifically remember watching. It was like almost the very end of the show. That was the episode where I had a sudden like pang of regret. Like I did not get what I was supposed to get out of Rebels. Like I specifically I remember that happening. I was in medical school. I was studying for my boards, I think actually, and I was just like killing time, binging episodes. Procrastinating like hell, and I watched that and I got like really emotional about it. And I was like, I think I screwed up. I really felt like I had screwed up, and I had like not gotten the experience I was supposed to out of all the Rebels. And it was like a come to Jesus moment to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But my favorite moment in the entire TV show is the very, very end of that episode where it shows Luke's homestead, and you see the little boy, the silhouette of the kid, like run out. And it's just like that hit me so freaking hard. I don't know what it is about touching the original trilogy from a distance that I've always been obsessed with.
Luke.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. That episode is amazing. It's probably my favorite fight in Star Wars because it's so perfectly measured.
Mhm.
It's the samurai influence that Lucas always talked about. A beautiful ending to that arc for two characters that we thought ended in episode 1 and then took like over a decade longer. And we're so lucky that it did.
Crazy.
You guys have touched so many great episodes, so many great moments. I'm going to give an honorable mention to everything that has to do with Sabine and the Darksaber.
Yeah.
All that mythology, everything with going back to Mandalore was great, but I'll take the last two-parter. Again, I hope you all have seen Rebels by this point if you're listening. Major spoiler. When Kanan sacrifices himself at the end, the moment where he's holding back the explosion, and when Hera just yells his name, it is that you want to talk about chilling, right? Like that's the chilling.
Yeah.
Thinking about it now, like it's just this blood curdling scream of like, because everything was fine, we're escaping, we won, and then Kanan, and then he looks back, holds her, and then his eyes clear up, and he pushes them away.
Oh my god.
And it's just
Oh.
there's this guy on YouTube called, I think, Hero Films Productions or something, that does this amazing Kanan tribute video.
Yeah, I think it's Hero Force Productions.
Yeah,
maybe.
HFP, I know. Is the
HFP,
thing,
yeah.
but
I just
HFP
watched some of those yesterday.
Yeah, he does it for a lot of Star Wars things, but his Kanan one, if you're not getting chills, I don't know who you are exactly, but just tremendous. So really,
Is that scream on par with when Rey screams Chewie's name in The Rise of
gosh.
Skywalker?
God,
Oh my
also
gosh.
heart-wrenching. Jeez.
I mean, this one had consequence, so yeah.
Wow. Hey, that one had consequence for probably about the worst
okay.
5 minutes of my life.
Here's the hot knife. Now gouge it between the
Golly.
ribs.
Yeah, I know. Definitely some great screams in Star Wars. But yeah, that moment, again, seeing Kanan as a guy who's afraid to even show himself as a Jedi in the beginning, all the way through becoming this teacher, then becoming a student again to the Bendu, and finally becoming like this guy who's totally at peace with his station and sacrifices himself for those he loves most. And knowing now that he was literally about to become a father, like, it just hits. So Rebels is real good, guys.
It is.
It's really good.
And since nobody else mentioned it, I also got to throw in World Between Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, some of
The
the
Rebels
most
Mortis
important
arc.
Star Wars lore we've ever gotten.
Yeah, I figured somebody else would. That's why I didn't say it. But man, oof.
That's a great call. Well, on that note, if you want to get more out of your Rebels time and you're like, man, I wish there were some books that really could help me get over the loss of Rebels, or I finished my rewatch, I need more, we got you covered, because y'all, we do have a book collection all about Rebels. And if you're new to Youtini, over on the site, we create these personally curated book collections based on eras, based on characters, based on anything you could want. And we do have one based all around Star Wars Rebels. So what we're going to do to end this show tonight, we're going to go through all the books that are included in the current Star Wars Rebels collection, and one more that's not included that we're going to be adding very soon. We have a lot of site updates coming up. I believe our current unpublished items on the site is in the 40s or 50s. So when that all pushes live, you'll know about it. But I'm going to start us off while these other guys navigate to the page. The first book is probably the most obvious one, and that is the first canon novel ever written, which is A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller. This book is all about Kanan and Hera, and it says the following. Star Wars Rebels tugged on the heartstrings of countless fans, and this story is where it all began. Taking place before the beloved show, A New Dawn shows us how Kanan and Hera were destined to cross paths and fight together in the Galactic Civil War. Being the first novel released in the new canon era of Star Wars books, John Jackson Miller leaves a lasting first impression on what's to come. Now, which of y'all have read A New Dawn?
I have not.
I really.
Ooh.
I read it years ago before I ever watched Rebels, and I didn't love it when I first read it, but I really want to go reread it now that I've actually seen Rebels and see, kind of how that changes things.
Mm-hmm. Wes, you read this one?
I have not.
All right. I read this one last year. And again, it was after I finished Rebels, and I do think weirdly that's the way to do it, because when you have Kanan and Hera in your head, hanging out with them is the reason to read this book.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want more content from them, and by the nature of the ending of the show, as we said, you're not going to get more Kanan and Hera. So going backwards is the way to do it, and you get Kanan as kind of, a drunk trying to hide from the horror of the Jedi Purge, and Hera as a freaking rebel operative. And it's super sick to see them together. You can't miss it if you love it. Let's see. Who wants to take the second one? I want to assign.
I'll take the third one.
To the third one. All right. Andrew, Wes, which one do you want to read about the second one?
What's the second one?
It's Ahsoka, man. Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston, which says the following. After the events of Order 66, survivors of the Jedi Purge must navigate the galaxy undetected. It's been a year since Ahsoka Tano watched the Galactic Republic fall, and she's leaving yet another planet to dodge Imperial suspicion and start over. Again, something strange is happening. However, and she can't help but let her curiosity get her into serious trouble. E.K. Johnston's young adult novel builds an important bridge between the Ahsoka we knew from the Clone Wars and the fulcrum we meet in Star Wars Rebels. Another moment, by the way, we did not mention that reveal of Ahsoka being fulcrum is freaking sick.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
It's in this story that our hero must come to terms with her past and discover the role she is meant to play in her darkened galaxy's future. Now, y'all, one of the coolest things about this book is that the audiobook, again, we've been plugging audiobooks a lot. Go to utini.com/audible now to pick up your free trial and free Star Wars audiobook. By the way,
Yep.
the audiobook of this is narrated by Ashley Eckstein herself.
It is.
So
Nice.
you
Who
get
is
Ahsoka
an
reading
unbelievably
Ahsoka.
cool person, if you didn't already know. She's
Mhm.
an incredible human being.
Nice flex.
Yeah, and especially with the Siege of Mandalore coming up, we're going to find kind of Ahsoka's bridge between Clone Wars and this book. It's really cool because you see her separate from Jedi, which we haven't really seen before. It's separate from the Rebellion, which we haven't really seen before.
Yeah,
So
this,
it is.
Ahsoka gets a little bit of criticism. Some people have called it Ahsoka Farms, which is pretty funny because the first quarter of the book, she's doing all this like farming stuff because she's like trying to lay low, and it's like
Sounds awesome.
it's like Harvest Moon, Star Wars, except Ahsoka.
Yeah,
it's really
but
great.
so is Kenobi.
I know. So I was just
I was,
saying,
I was about to say.
that's the funny part because I don't think it's like in a bad way. Like Ahsoka Farms is not. I don't think it's like a mean joke. Like this book sucks. Like I think it's just funny because that's a large part of the book is involving farming and stuff, and it like really goes into farming lore in Star Wars, which is really awesome.
That actually sounds really cool.
It's really good.
It's really
good. Ahsoka. Have you guys read Ahsoka, Wes and Andrew?
I have.
I have
no.
not.
Yeah,
I own it,
yeah.
but I haven't read it.
Ahsoka's really good. It's short. The paperback is pretty little. It's really short. I've heard a lot of people. This is their first book ever. Some of you guys in the chat, maybe this was one of y'all's first books. Let us know if it is. like I said, it's really short. Ahsoka gets her lightsabers in the book.
The white ones.
white
And
ones,
also,
does some pretty cool crystal lore stuff in there too.
yeah, for all you Kyber Crystal lovers, Juliana says in the chat, Ahsoka Roundtable, and you better believe that's one of our upcoming Patreon goals, which we're going to have to space out a little more because we got to finish up these other ones.
No!
But Ahsoka,
Anything for money, Eric!
saying we're not doing that, but that
CEO Corey has entered the chat.
more than likely our next Patreon goal following the Lost Stars Roundtable, because again, we love that you guys seem to love these roundtables.
Yeah,
They're
we did a
legit our
poll.
favorite
We
things to
didn't just
do.
make this up. We polled current
Yeah.
patrons and said what do you want our next goals to be, and it was overwhelmingly so. Lost Stars, then Ahsoka. So
Ahsoka will be coming up for sure. All right, Corey, you wanted the third one? Hit that third book.
yes, number 3 in the Rebels reading collection is Lords of the Sith by Paul S. Kim. This is a canon adult novel. Takes place in 14 BBY. This is our sort of synopsis of the book. It says the most iconic Sith duo is that of Darth Sidious and Darth Vader. When it comes to the films, the immense power of their strengths combined remains to be seen. Lords of the Sith offers the display of unrivaled power that we deserve, and Paul Kim delivers those brutal moments in vivid detail. The magnitude of chaos and destruction unleashed by the Sith Lords is emphasized alongside the sheer terror and hopelessness of the rebels attempting to fight against them. Their despair is even more apparent through the eyes of Cham Syndulla, Hera Syndulla's father and rebel leader of Ryloth, showing that even the most courageous minds are no match for the dark side. So I've read Lords of the Sith. Have you guys read this one? This is
I have, yeah.
This is a lesser known, I think, sort of novel. I believe it is in tier 2, I want to say, of the Utini reading order. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't think we have an unbelievably high rating for it on the site.
I think I'm one of the higher ratings. Like, I think I rate this one a lot higher than most.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this one too. We get a lot of I think my favorite part of the book is we get a lot of like the dynamic between the master Sidious and the apprentice Vader, which is really cool. There's also these couple like I can't remember their names. These couple like Senate guards that are with them, like they're like trying to survive. So the premise of the book is like they crash land and they're like trying to survive and stuff. Vader and the Emperor and like I think there are 2 like of the Emperor's guards or whatever, and the Emperor's guards are just like trying not to acknowledge the fact that Sidious and Vader are unleashing all this force hell on literally everybody, and they're like it's sort of implied that the guards don't actually know that the Emperor is like a Sith Lord. So
right,
yeah, because he's pretty restrained. And one thing I would advise people that haven't read this book, which I think would have helped me a little more as I read it as well, this book percentage-wise is more of a Cham Syndulla book than it is Vader Sidious.
Yeah,
As
that's
far
why
as page count
it's in
goes,
this collection.
Yeah, exactly. So we get way more of the rebellion on Ryloth. So if just go in knowing that, honestly, the cover for this book is really dope. It's a little deceptive.
Yep.
So know that you're going to get a lot more Cham Syndulla talk. And if you want more Hera and stuff from Rebels, you're not going to be disappointed. But just know that going in, and there is still some pretty cool, dope as hell dark side stuff.
Yes.
This is definitely you do get like little touches of the Rogue One Vader in this one where it's just but in this one it's more of like imagine Rogue One Vader, but you get the perspective of the rebel troopers in the hallway.
Great pitch. All right, we got 2 more in this collection as of now, and then I'm going to add a surprise third one. So our next one, we're going to kind of combine these last 2 because they are literally a book in its sequel. So they are Thrawn and Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn. The first book says the following. After stumbling upon an exiled Chiss on an abandoned planet, the Empire quickly realizes they may have found a new weapon. With his powerful intellect and devastating cunning, Thrawn is soon enrolled in the Imperial Academy on Coruscant along with Eli Vanto, new cadet for the Empire, serving as his translator. Despite mounting unhappiness with the unusual pair of success, Thrawn and Eli climb the ranks in the Imperial military just in time for a clash with a mysterious adversary known only as Night Swan. Any villain as monumental as Grand Admiral Thrawn deserves an equally prodigious origin story, and this book delivers. With a healthy serving of mysteries to be solved, this tale of an unlikely alien's climb to the zenith of the Empire is one of Zahn's most intriguing yet. And we're not going to disagree on that. This book is in tier 1 firmly. We love this book. Also, this book, which we don't mention there, features another very key Rebels character, does it not?
Definitely does.
I actually read Thrawn before I watched Rebels, and so when I'm reading this book, I guess I'll. No, I won't say her name, but the
yeah,
character.
No, do it. I was
Okay.
setting you up. Hit that
Okay.
alley-oop.
Yeah. So, anyways, when it's given the origin story of Verenda Price, I'm reading this book, and this is the only experience I have with the character. I'm like, I'm actually starting to like her. I'm like, this is cool. This is awesome. Ambitious. Female character rising through the ranks and navigating her way. And then it gets towards the end of the book, and I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to like this character. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. It's a totally different experience. And seeing their kind of mirror journeys is interesting. Then going back to watch Rebels again and being like, oh,
Yeah.
this is why you two talk to each other that way. And Thrawn Alliances is also on here because again, you get more of Thrawn's journey, and Thrawn Alliances happens right between I'm gonna mess it up, between 2 episodes in season 3 of Rebels. So you got Thrawn in that characterization. So if you like the characterization of Thrawn in the show, Thrawn Alliances is going to give you that more of that character, whereas the book Thrawn itself is going to be a little more of an origin story, as we were saying. Now, the last one I want to put in here that's not on the collection now, which we will fix ASAP, is a comic. And this is Star Wars Kanan. That's right, folks. Kanan Jarrus himself got a prequel comic series. It was a limited series released back in 2015, and it told us a story about the last Padawan, as he was called, Kanan Jarrus, and his master. It was about him in a couple of cool, I don't know, I guess just cool missions, right, as a Padawan, right before Order 66. It was in 2 separate volumes, 12 issues total. And the reason I want to bring that up is obviously because it gets you more Kanan content, but also because we want to get comics more in people's minds. We're really making a push lately to talk more about comics, especially since this coming year, comics are being relaunched. They're getting into more people's eyes, getting into more people's pull lists. So if you haven't checked out Kanan yet, and again, we all want more Kanan. We love him. He's adorable. He's our little baby. And he's real freaking dead now. You got to go back and see him in this comic series. So 12 issues total. That is Star Wars Kanan. Guys, it's a lot of good content that I love dearly. But I want to ask you guys one more question before we get on out of here. If we could get one more expanded universe piece of content that surrounds Rebels, what would we want it to be? Let's see. Looking around, you all look very Wes, go.
Sabine origin story.
Ooh, that's a good
one.
Do
you want a book?
Would be...
Do you want a comic?
I want a book.
All right.
I definitely want a book. I want details. So yeah, give me a 400-page book.
Ooh, who's writing it?
Ooh.
Let's go. Yeah.
Claudia Gray. Claudia Gray's going to write it.
Hey, there you go. Easy. Easy.
All right. The final question then, is it, because she's done all of it, is it an adult novel or a young adult novel?
Well, I want an adult novel because I'm grown up and I would like to read like an adult.
Shots fired.
All right. So you want a little more complexity in it. So you want her to be a little older. You want a little more of the battle stuff.
Yes.
Cool. All right. I dig it. Let's see. Corey, because I want to be nice to you. Andrew, what do you got?
Okay, so I think this is probably a little bit influenced by Alphabet Squad, but I want a post-Rebels, pre-Alphabet Squad Hera novel focused on her continued rise through the actual Rebel Alliance.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Did any of the Ghost crew stick with her after the finale of Rebels, or did they all kind of go their separate way?
Her and Jason were together. That's all we know for sure.
That would be my pick then. Is pre-Alphabet Squad, post-Rebels, Hera novel written by. I'm going to go James Luceno because he needs to come back to canon.
Great. All about that. Corey, what do you think?
I want the obvious. I want answers about the end of Rebels. I want to know. I want a young adult book about Ahsoka and Sabine's journey into trying to find Ezra. And I would love to get. I'd love to get a little more insight into Ahsoka, after Rebels, because her voice is in The Rise of Skywalker, obviously.
Yep.
Dave Filoni has joked a lot about he's going to try to keep her alive somehow. So what the hell happened to her? I would love to see that. I would love to see maybe a little romance, like with maybe with Ahsoka. Is that kid still alive? God, who is that guy that she had that romance with?
Oh yeah.
Is he still alive? Lux
Bonteri?
Is Lux Bonteri still alive?
No, he's not.
Did he
I'm not
die?
gonna spoil it. He is in another property of Star Wars, and it's a cool reveal. So I will not spoil that.
Okay, I
can't
remember what that is. All right, it's not possible. Dang, I was hoping. I don't know. Maybe something with Sabine. That'd be cool. I'd love to see some more stuff with her. Maybe she gets a little more character development. Maybe she's somehow tied to the Mandalorian in some way.
I dig it. I'm gonna go with this is slightly cheating. This is my film or my television series wish, but I'm gonna adapt it also into a book. I want the Fulcrum book, which is the missions of Ahsoka, Cassian Andor, and Sabe,
Yes.
forming Fulcrum under the rulership of Bail Organa. That is the book I want. That is the show I want.
Who's writing it?
Yeah, basically starting the underworld of the rebellion with the three of them, getting missions from Bail. And let's see, to write it. Ooh, political. It's tough. I mean, I've had my druthers. I kind of want Chuck Wendig to come back to write it. He can't. So
that's probably not gonna happen.
I don't know. The political stuff is tough. Alexander Freed. Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Let's put him in there. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Or Delilah Dawson.
Yeah,
she'd also be really good at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want my Fulcrum series with
Kevin
them.
Scott. Let Kevin Scott write it.
Oh yeah.
That'd be good.
See, it's an embarrassment of riches
It is.
in this fandom, truly.
Honorable mention, just because I just thought of it, but who said Sabine? Did somebody else say Sabine already?
Corey just did, and also Wes did.
Wes.
And yes.
I would love, everybody. I would love it if Karen Travis from Legends came back to write something about Sabine because she tore apart some Mandalorian stuff. She was all over it.
She did.
Also, Rob just said Bail's Angels with Sabine, Hera, and Ahsoka.
Yeah. Nice.
Just hopefully without the creepy overtones.
Yes.
Well, even if they're a little creepy, we'll be fine. Okay.
All
anyway. Oh man. Well, everybody. This was awesome. I freaking love Rebels.
It's a good show.
I freaking love talking about it. This chat was on fire the entire show. Y'all, seriously, we love reading those responses. We love hanging out with you guys. It's been an awesome show. We're about to get out of here, but I want to repeat this now that we are going to record an episode of Bounty Hunt immediately after this, for the Aftermath after show, talking about Clone Wars. So if you are in our Inquisitors tier and up, please come on over and hang out for that. For the rest of y'all, that's going to be released on the Bounty Hunt feed very soon. But on that note, Corey, Wes, Andrew, and everyone watching, that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Tune in every week to hear the crew at UTini talk about the Star Wars Expanded Universe. If you want to buy some of these books and want to help support the show, look up that book on UTini, click the Amazon link on the profile, and we'll get a couple cents to help keep the lights on. If you want to help us out more directly, you can find us on patreon.com/UTini or on TeePublic, where our t-shirt designs are now live. Again, we have a super awesome special episode of Aftermath tonight as we dive into the most recent episode of the Clone Wars. This is a special treat. We usually don't do Bounty Hunt live. And another co-host is probably going to show up for that. So a little tease for that. If you're Inquisitor tier or up, head over to Patreon right now to join us for Aftermath. We'll be posting that link immediately. And if you do have time, we would love you to make it into that Aftermath after show where we talk about Star Wars and we just hang out after the live show is done. If you're already on Patreon and you're not there, tonight may be the night to upgrade. We'll try to make it really good. A special thank you to Drew Ibarrando and Patrick Ortiz and our Jedi High Council, and Timothy Dunlap and Ross Orlando on our Alliance High Command for your amazing support. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Anderson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. I didn't ask Wes or Andrew for their Twitter handles. Wes, are you on Twitter? What are you?
I'm Living Force Pod.
Absolutely. Andrew, what's your Twitter handle?
It's very creative. It is at Andrew_D_Bell.
All right, there you go. I'm not telling you Charles is. He wasn't on the show. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Freddie, our producer, Wes, our co-host and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Wes, and Andrew for podcasting with me. As always, may the force be with you.